1585 N9, J 1811-29. 1586 N10 J 2911 30 10. And therefore in general J 2611 N6 30 R, but the numerator of this fraction becomes by reduction 11 N40 or 11 N10, the 30 being rejected as the remainder only is sought N10 N1, therefore ultimately. J left bracket N10 N1. 30 right bracket R. On account of the solar equation, the epoch J must be diminished by unity every centesimal year, excepting always the fourth after x centuries therefore, it must be diminished by XX4W now, as 1600 was a leap year. The first correction of the Julian intercalation took place in 1700 hence, taking C to denote the number of the century. As before the correction becomes C16 C16 4W, which Roman 5p must be deducted from J, we have therefore SC16 left bracket C16. 4 right bracket W. With regard to the lunar equation, M, we have already stated that in the Gregorian calendar, the epochs are increased by unity at the end of every period of 300 years 7 times successively, and then the increase takes place once at the end of 400 years. This gives 8 to be added in a period of 25 centuries and x in x centuries, but 8x 13x. X now from the manner in which the intercalation is directed to be made, namely 7 times successively at the end of 300 years, and once at the end of 400, it is evident that the fraction x must amount to unity, when the number of centuries amounts to 24 in like manner. When the number of centuries is 24 25 49, we must have x2 when the number of centuries is 24 2 25 74, then x3, and generally when the number of centuries is 24n 25, then xn1 now, this is a condition which will evidently be expressed in general by the formula nn125w, hence the correction of the epoch, or the number of days to be intercalated after x centuries reckoned from the commencement of one of the periods of 25 centuries is xx125w3, w the last period of 25 centuries terminated with 1800 therefore in any succeeding year. If C be the number of the century, we shall have xc18 and x1c17, let c1725w then for all years after 1800. The value of m will be given by the formula c18, a 3w therefore counting from the beginning of the calendar, in 1582. M right brace c15, 3 left brace w. By the substitution of these values of j, s, and m, the equation of the epoch becomes E left bracket N10 N1. 30 right bracket R C16 left bracket C16. 4 right bracket W left bracket C15. 3 right bracket W. It may be remarked that as a C1725, W the value of a will be 0, till C1725 or C42, therefore, till the year 4200, a may be neglected in the computation, had the anticipation of the new moons been taken as it ought to have been at 1 day in 308 years, instead of 31,212, the lunar equation would have occurred only 12 times in 3,700 years or 11 times, successively, at the end of 300 years, and then at the end of 400. In strict accuracy, therefore ought to have no value till C1737 or C54, that is to say, till the year 5400. The above formula for the epoch is given by D'Alembert Hist de l'Astronomie moderne T, Roman 1p9. It may be exhibited under a variety of forms, but the above is perhaps the best adapted for calculation. Another had previously been given by Gauss, but inaccurately inasmuch as the correction depending on it was omitted. Having determined the epoch of the year, it only remains to find Easter Sunday from the conditions already laid down. Let P the number of days from the 21st of March to the 15th of the Paschal moon, which is the first day on which Easter Sunday can fall. P the number of days from the 21st of March to Easter Sunday. L the number of the dominical letter of the year. L letter belonging to the day on which the 15th of the moon falls. Then, since Easter is the Sunday following the 14th of the moon, we have PPLL, which is commonly called the number of direction. The value of L is always given by the formula for the dominical letter, and P and L are easily deduced from the epoch, as will appear from the following considerations. When P1 the full moon is on the 21st of March, and the new moon on the 8th 2113-8, Therefore, the moon's age on the 1st of March, which is the same as on the 1st of January, is 23 days. The epoch of the year is consequently 23 when P2, the new moon falls on the 9th, and the epoch is consequently 22, and in general when P becomes 1x E becomes 23x, therefore P E1x 23x 24, and P24E in like manner, when P1LD4 for D, is the dominical letter of the calendar belonging to the 22nd of March. But it is evident that, when L is increased by unity, that is to say, when the full moon falls a day later, the epoch of the year is diminished by unity, therefore in general, when L4x E23x whence LE 27 and L27E, but P can never be less than 1, nor L less than 4, and in both cases E23. When therefore E is greater than 23, we must add 30 in order that P and L may have positive values in the formula P, 24E and L27, E. Hence there are two cases. When E24 left brace P, 24E, L27E or left bracket 27E. 7 right bracket R. When E23 left brace P, 54E, L57E or left bracket 57E. 7 right bracket R. By substituting one or other of these values of P and L, according as the case may be in the formula PPLL, we shall have P, or the number of days, from the 21st of March to Easter Sunday. It will be remarked that as LL cannot either be 0 or negative, we must add 7 to L as often as may be necessary, in order that LL may be a positive whole number. By means of the formulae which we have now given for the dominical letter, the golden number, and the epoch Easter Sunday, may be computed for any year after the Reformation without the assistance of any tables, whatever as an example suppose it were required to compute Easter for the year 1840. By substituting this number in the formula for the dominical letter, we have X 1840 C 162 C 164 W0, therefore L7 M6 1840 462, 7 M22 92, 7 328 22 92 22 96 22 92 4. L4 letter D1. For the golden number, we have N 1841 19R, therefore N17 2. For the epoch, we have left bracket N10 N1, 30 right bracket R left bracket 17 160, 30 right bracket R left bracket 177, 30 right bracket R 27. Likewise C 16 18, 16 2 C 15. 3 1 a 0, therefore E27 2 1 26 3. Now since E23 we have for P and L. P54 E54 26 28. L left bracket 57E. 7 right bracket R left bracket 57 26. 7 right bracket R left bracket 31. 7 right bracket R3. Consequently, since PPLL, P28 43 29. That is to say, Easter happens 29 days after the 21st of March, or on the 19th April, the same result as was before found from the tables. The principal church feasts depending on Easter, and the times of their celebration are as follows. Septuagesima Sunday. Right brace is left brace. 9 weeks. Right brace before Easter. First Sunday in Lent. And 6 weeks. Ash Wednesday. 46 days. Rogation Sunday. Right brace is left brace. 5 weeks. Right brace after Easter. Ascension Day or Holy Thursday. 39 days. Pentecost or Whitsunday. 7 weeks. Trinity Sunday. And 8 weeks. The Gregorian calendar was introduced into Spain, Portugal, and part of Italy the same day as at Rome and France. It was received in the same year in the month of December, and by the Catholic states of Germany, the year following in the Protestant states of Germany. The Julian calendar was adhered to till the year 1700, when it was decreed by the Diet of Regensburg that the new style and the Gregorian correction of the intercalation should be adopted instead, however, of employing the golden numbers and epochs for the determination of Easter and the movable feasts. It was resolved that the equinox and the paschal moon should be found by astronomical computation from the Rudolphine tables, But this method, though at first view it may appear more accurate, was soon found to be attended with numerous inconveniences, and was at length in 1774 abandoned at the instance of Frederick Roman II, King of Prussia in Denmark and Sweden. The reformed calendar was received about the same time, as in the Protestant states of Germany. It is remarkable that Russia still adheres to the Julian reckoning. In Great Britain, the alteration of the style was for a long time successfully opposed by popular prejudice. The inconvenience, however, of using a different date from that employed by the greater part of Europe in matters of history and chronology began to be generally felt, and at length the calendar New Roman 5 P-Style Act 1750 was passed for the adoption of the new style in all public and legal transactions. The difference of the two styles, which then amounted to 11 days, was removed by ordering the day following the 2nd of September of the year 1752 to be accounted the 14th of that month. And in order to preserve uniformity in future, the Gregorian rule of intercalation respecting the secular years was adopted. At the same time, the commencement of the legal year was changed from the 25th of March to the 1st of January. In Scotland, January 1st was adopted for New Year's Day from 1600, according to an act of the Privy Council in December 1599. This fact is of importance with reference to the date of legal deeds executed in Scotland between that period and 1751, when the change was effected in England with respect to the movable feasts. Easter is determined by the rule laid down by the Council of Nice. But instead of employing the new moons and epochs, the golden numbers are prefixed to the days of the full moons in those years in which the line of epochs is changed. In the Gregorian calendar, the golden numbers are removed to different days, and of course, a new table is required whenever the solar or lunar equation occurs. The golden numbers have been placed so that Easter may fall on the same day as in the Gregorian calendar. The calendar of the Church of England is therefore from century to century the same in form as the old Roman calendar, excepting that the golden numbers indicate the full moons instead of the new moons. Hebrew calendar and the construction of the Jewish calendar. Numerous details require attention. The calendar is dated from the creation, which is considered to have taken place 3760 years and 3 months before the commencement of the Christian era. The year is lunisolar and according, as it is ordinary or embolismic, consists of 12 or 13 lunar months, each of which has 29 or 30 days. Thus the duration of the ordinary year is 354 days, and that of the embolismic is 384 days in either case. It is sometimes made a day more, and sometimes a day less, in order that certain festivals may fall on proper days of the week. For their due observance, the distribution of the embolismic years in each cycle of 19 years is determined according to the following rule. The number of the Hebrew year, y, which has its commencement in a Gregorian year x, is obtained by the addition of 3761 years. That is yx 3761. Divide the Hebrew year by 19. Then, the quotient is the number of the last completed cycle, and the remainder is the year of the current cycle. If the remainder be 368, 11, 14, 17, or 19, 0, the year is embolismic. If any other number, it is ordinary or otherwise, if we find the remainder. R left bracket 7y1. 19 right bracket r. The year is embolismic when R7. The calendar is constructed on the assumptions that the mean lunation is 29 days 12 hours, 44 min 313 sec, and that the year commences on or immediately after the new moon, following the autumnal equinox. The mean solar year is also assumed to be 365 days 5 hours, 55 min 252,557 sec, so that a cycle of 19 of such years, containing 6939 days, 16 hours 33 min 313 sec, is the exact measure of 235. Of the assumed lunations, the year 5606 was the first of a cycle, and the mean new moon appertaining to the 1st of Tisri for that year was 1845 October 115 hours 42 min 4313 sec, as computed by Lindo. And adopting the civil mode of reckoning from the previous midnight, the times of all future new moons may consequently be deduced by successively adding 29 days 12 hours 44 min 313 sec to this date. To compute the times of the new moons, which determine the commencement of successive years, it must be observed that in passing from an ordinary year, the new moon of the following year is deduced by subtracting the interval that 12 lunations fall short of the corresponding Gregorian year of 365 or 366 days, and that in passing from an embolismic year, It is to be found by adding the excess of 13 lunations over the Gregorian year, thus to deduce the new moon of Tisri for the year, immediately following any given year y when y is. Ordinary subtract left bracket 10. 11 right bracket days, 15 hours 11 min 20 sec. Embolismic add left bracket 18. 17 right bracket days, 21 hours 32 min 43 12 sec. The second mentioned number of days being used in each case, whenever the following or new Gregorian year is bisextile. Hence, knowing which of the years are embolismic from their ordinal position, in the cycle according to the rule, before stated the times of the commencement of successive years, may be thus carried on indefinitely without any difficulty, but some slight adjustments will occasionally be needed for the reasons before assigned, viz. To avoid certain festivals falling on incompatible days of the week, whenever the computed conjunction falls on a Sunday, Wednesday, or Friday. The new year is in such case to be fixed on the day. After it will also be requisite to attend to the following conditions. If the computed new moon be after 18 hours, the following day is to be taken, and if that happen to be Sunday, Wednesday, or Friday, it must be further postponed one day. If for an ordinary year the new moon falls on a Tuesday as late as 9 hours 11 min 20, sec it is not to be observed thereon, and as it may not be held on a Wednesday, it is in such case to be postponed to Thursday if, for a year immediately following an embolismic year, the computed new moon is on Monday as late as 15 hours 30 min 52, sec the new year is to be fixed on Tuesday. After the dates of commencement of the successive Hebrew years are finally adjusted conformably, with the foregoing directions, an estimation of the consecutive intervals, by taking the differences, will show the duration and character of the years that respectively intervene according to the number of days, thus found to be comprised in the different years. The days of the several months are distributed, as in table Romans 6 the signs, and are respectively annexed to Hesvan and Kislev, to indicate that the former of these months may sometimes require to have one day more, and the latter sometimes one day less than the number of days shown in the table. The result in every case being at once determined by the total number of days that the year may happen to contain. An ordinary year may comprise 353, 354, or 355 days, and an embolismic year 380, 384, or 385 days. In these cases, respectively, the year is said to be imperfect common, or perfect. The intercalary month Vidar is introduced in embolismic years in order that Passover, the 15th day of Nisan, may be kept at its proper season, which is the full moon of the vernal equinox, or that which takes place after the sun has entered the sign Aries. It always precedes the following new year by 163 days or 23 weeks and 2 days, and Pentecost always precedes the new year by 113 days or 16 weeks and 1 day. Table Romans 6 Hebrew months. Hebrew months. Ordinary. And year. Embolismic. And year. Tisri. Hesvan. Kislev. Tebet. Zebat. Adar. Vidar. Nisan. Yair. Asivan. Tammuz. Zab. Zbelul. Stodal. The Gregorian epoch being the age of the moon of Tebet at the beginning of the Gregorian year, it represents the day of Tebet, which corresponds to January 1, and thus the approximate date of Tisri, 1 the commencement of the Hebrew year, may be otherwise deduced by subtracting the epoch from Sept 24, Oct 24 left brace after and right brace ordinary. Embolismic left brace Hebrew year. Roman 5p. The result so obtained would in general be more accurate than the Jewish calculation, from which it may differ a day, as fractions of a day do not enter alike in these computations. Such difference may also in part be accounted for by the fact that the assumed duration of the solar year is 6,392,557 sec, in excess of the true astronomical value, which will cause the dates of commencement of future Jewish years, so calculated to advance forward from the equinox a day in error, in 216 years. The lunations are estimated with much greater precision. The following table is extracted from Woolhouse's measures weights and monies of all nations. Table Romans 7 Hebrew years. 296 cycle. Jewish. And year. number of days, commencement, first of Tisri, third, locked, timon, zept, zet, zept, third, zept, timon, zept, zet, zept, zet, zept, atuz, zept, timon, locked, zet, zept, third, zept, atuz, zept, zet, zept, third, zept, third, zept, timon, zept, third, zept, third, zept, timon, zept, 297 cycle, zet, locked, third, zept, timon, zept, timon, zept, third, zept, timon, zept, timon, zept, zet, zept, third, locked, timon, zept, zet, zept, third, zept, atuz, zept, zet, zept, zet, zept, third, zept, timon, zept, zet, zept, third, zept, 298 cycle, atuz, locked, zet, zept, third, zept, third, zept, timon, zept, third, zept, third, zept, timon, zept, zet, locked, third, zept, timon, zept, timon, locked, third, zept, atuz, zept, timon, zept, zet, zept, atuz, zept, timon, zept, zet, zept, 299 cycle, third, locked, atuz, zept, zet, zept, zet, zept, third, zept, timon, zept, zet, zept, third, zept, atuz, locked, zet, zept, third, zept, third, locked, timon, zept, third, zept, third, zept, timon, zept, zet, zept, third, zept, timon, zept, 300 cycle, Jewish, year, number of days, commencement, first of Tisri, timon, locked, zet, zept, atuz, zept, timon, zept, zet, zept, third, zept, atuz, zept, zet, zept, zet, locked, atuz, zept, zet, zept, zet, locked, third, zept, timon, zept, zet, zept, third, zept, timon, zept, timon, zept, thir, zept, 301 cycle, thir, logt, moan, zept, zet, zept, thir, zept, moan, zept, zet, zept, thir, zept, moan, zept, moan, logt, zet, zept, atuse, zept, moan, logt, zet, zept, thir, zept, atuse, zept, zet, zept, thir, zept, thir, zept, moan, zept, 302 cycle, zet, logt, thir, zept, moan, zept, zet, zept, thir, zept, moan, zept, moan, zept, thir, zept, thir, logt, moan, zept, zet, zept, thir, logt, moan, zept, zet, zept, thir, zept, atuse, zept, zet, zept, zet, zept, atuse, zept, 303 cycle, moan, logt, zet, zept, thir, zept, atuse, zept, zet, zept, thir, zept, thir, zept, moan, zept, zet, logt, thir, zept, moan, zept, zet, zept, thir, zept, moan, zept, moan, zept, thir, zept, atuse, zept, moan, zept, zet, zept, 304 cycle, Jewish, year, number of days, commencement, first of Tisri, thir, logt, moan, zept, zet, zept, zet, zept, atuse, zept, zet, zept, zet, zept, thir, zept, atuse, logt, zet, zept, thir, zept, atuse, zept, zet, zept, thir, zept, thir, zept, moan, zept, thir, zept, thir, zept, moan, zept, 305 cycle, moan, logt, thir, zept, moan, zept, moan, zept, zet, zept, atuse, zept, moan, zept, zet, zept, thir, logt, atuse, zept, zet, zept, zet, logt, thir, zept, moan, zept, zet, zept, thir, zept, moan, zept, zet, zept, thir, zept, 306 cycle. Thur. Logt. Timon. Zept. Thur. Zept. Thur. Zept. Timon. Zept. Zet. Zept. Thur. Zept. Timon. Zept. Timon. Logt. Thur. Zept. Atuz. Zept. Timon. Logt. Zet. Zept. Atuz. Zept. Timon. Zept. Zet. Zept. Thur. Zept. Atuz. Zept. Zet. Zept. 307 cycle. Zet. Logt. Thur. Zept. Timon. Zept. Zet. Zept. Thur. Zept. Timon. Zept. Zet. Zept. Thur. Zept. Thur. Logt. Timon. Zept. Thur. Zept. Thur. Logt. Timon. Zept. Zet. Zept. Thur. Zept. Timon. Zept. Zet. Zept. Thur. Zept. Atuz. Zept. Mohammedan calendar. The Mohammedan era, or era of the Hejira, used in Turkey, Persia, Arabia, Roman 100, is dated from the first day of the month, preceding the flight of Mahomet from Mecca to Medina, Roman 1 Thursday, the 15th of July, A Roman 500, and it commenced on the day following. The years of the Hejira are purely lunar and always consist of 12 lunar months, commencing with the approximate new moon, without any intercalation to keep them to the same season with respect to the sun, so that they retrograde through all the seasons in about 32 years. They are also partitioned into cycles of 30 years, 19 of which are common years of 354 days each, and the other 11 are intercalary years, having an additional day appended to the last month. The mean length of the year is therefore 3,541,130 days, or 354 days 8 hours 48 min, which divided by 12 gives 29,191,360 days, or 29 days 12 hours 44 min, as the time of a mean lunation. And this differs from the astronomical mean lunation by only 2 seconds. This small error will only amount to a day in about 2,400 years. To find if a year is intercalary or common, divide it by 30, the quotient will be the number of completed cycles, and the remainder will be the year of the current cycle. If this last be one of the numbers 2, 5, 7, 10, 13, 16, 18, 21, 24, 26, 29, the year is intercalary, and consists of 355 days. If it be any other number, the year is ordinary. Or if y denote the number of the Mohammedan year, and r left bracket 11 y 14. 30 right bracket r. The year is intercalary when r11. Roman 5p. Also the number of intercalary years from the year 1 up to the year y, inclusive 11 y 14 30 w, and the same up to the year y 1 11 y 3 30 w. To find the day of the week on which any year of the Hejira begins, we observe that the year 1 began on a Friday, and that after every common year of 354 days or 50 weeks and 4 days, the day of the week must necessarily become postponed 4 days besides the additional day of each intercalary year. Hence, if W1 indicate sun, Timon, Atu, Wed, Thur, Fridn, Zet, the day of the week on which the year Y commences will be W2 4 left bracket Y, 7 right bracket R left bracket 11 Y3, 30 right bracket W rejecting 7s, but 30 left bracket 11 Y3, 30 right bracket W left bracket 11 Y3, 30 right bracket R 11 Y3, gives 120 left bracket 11 Y3. 30 right bracket W1244Y4 left bracket 11Y3. 30 right bracket R. Or left bracket 11Y3. 30 right bracket W52Y3, left bracket 11Y3. 30 right bracket R rejecting sevens. So that W6 left bracket Y. 7 right bracket R3 left bracket 11Y3. 30 right bracket R rejecting sevens. The values of which obviously circulate in a period of 7 times 30 or 210 years. Let C denote the number of completed cycles, and Y the year of the cycle, then Y30 CY and W5 left bracket C. 7 right bracket R6 left bracket Y. 7 right bracket R3 left bracket 11Y3. 30 right bracket R rejecting sevens. From this formula, the following table has been constructed. Table Roman 8 year of the current cycle Y. Number of the period of 7 cycles C7R. Timon is that thir twos sun fridn wed fridn wed Timon is that thir twos sun twos sun fridn wed Timon is that thir sun fridn wed Timon is that thir twos thir twos sun fridn wed Timon is that Timon is that thir twos sun fridn wed is that thir twos sun fridn wed Timon wed Timon is that thir twos sun fridn wed Timon is that thir twos. To find from this table the day of the week on which any year of the Hegira commences, the rule to be observed will be as follows. Rule: divide the year of the Hegira by 30, the quotient is the number of cycles, and the remainder is the year of the current cycle. Next, divide the number of cycles by 7, and the second remainder will be the number of the period which being found at the top of the table. And the year of the cycle on the left hand, the required day of the week, is immediately shown. The intercalary years of the cycle are distinguished by an asterisk. For the computation of the Christian date, the ratio of a mean year of the Hegira to a solar year is year of Hegira, mean solar year 3,540,130. The year one began 16 July 622 Old Style, or 19 July 622, according to the New or Gregorian style. Now the day of the year answering to the 19th of July is 200, which in parts of the solar year is 0. And the number of years elapsed Y1, therefore, as the intercalary days are distributed with considerable regularity in both calendars, the date of commencement of the year Y expressed in Gregorian years. Y1 622, or 0 Y 621. This formula gives the following rule for calculating the date of the commencement of any year of the Hegira, according to the Gregorian or New Style. Rule: multiply 970,224 by the year of the Hegira, cut off 6 decimals from the product, and add 621. The sum will be the year of the Christian era, and the day of the year will be found by multiplying the decimal figures by 365. The result may sometimes differ a day from the truth, as the intercalary days do not occur simultaneously. But as the day of the week can always be accurately obtained from the foregoing table, the result can be readily adjusted. Example: required the date on which the year 1362 of the Hegira begins. 1940448. 132,445,088. 621,5774. 82125. Thus the date is the 8th day, or the 8th of January, of the year 1943. To find as a test the accurate day of the week, the proposed year of the Hejira divided by 30 gives 45 cycles, and remainder 12 the year of the current cycle. Also 45 divided by 7 leaves a remainder 3 for the number of the period. Therefore, referring to 3 at the top of the table, and 12 on the left, the required day is Friday. The tables page 571 show that 8th January 1943 is a Friday, therefore the date is exact. For any other date of the Mohammedan year, it is only requisite to know the names of the consecutive months and the number of days in each these are. Muharram, Safar, Rabia Roman 1, Rabia Roman 2, Jamada Roman 1, Jamada Roman 2, Rajab, Shaban, Ramadan, Shawwal, Dulqa'da Dhul-Qa'da, Dhul-Hijjah Dhul-Hijjah. And in intercalary years, the 9th month Ramadan is the month of abstinence observed by the Muslims. The Muslim calendar may evidently be carried on indefinitely by successive addition, observing only to allow for the additional day that occurs in the bisextile and intercalary years. But for any remote date, the computation according to the preceding rules will be most efficient, and such computation may be usefully employed as a check on the accuracy of any considerable extension of the calendar, by induction alone. The following table, taken from Woolhouse's Measures, Weights, and Moneys of All Nations, shows the dates of commencement of Mohammedan years from 1845 up to 2047, or from the 43rd to the 49th cycle, inclusive, which form the whole of the 7th period of 7 cycles throughout the next period of 7 cycles, and all other like periods the days of the week will recur in exactly the same order. All the tables of this kind previously published, which extend beyond the year 1900 of the Christian era, are erroneous, not excepting the celebrated French work L'Art de Verifier. Less dates, so justly regarded as the greatest authority in chronological matters, the errors have probably arisen from a continued excess of 10 in the discrimination of the intercalary years. Table Roman 9, Mohammedan years. RD cycle. Year of Hejira. Commencement 1st of Muharram. Fridn. Jan. Tuz. Dek. Sun. Dek. Thur. Dek. Timon. Nav. Zet. Nav. Wed. Nav. Timon. Locked. Fridn. Locked. Tuz. Locked. Sun. Zept. Thur. Zept. Timon. Zept. Zet. Snog. Wed. Snog. Sun. July. Fridn. July. Tuz. July. Sun. June. Thur. June. Timon. June. Zet. May. Wed. May. Sun. May. Fridn. April. Tuz. April. Sun. April. Thur. Mar. Timon. Mar. Zet. Mar. TH cycle. Wed. Feb. Sun. Feb. Fridn. Jan. Tuz. Jan. Zet. Jan. Thur. Dek. Timon. Dek. Zet. Dek. Wed. Nav. Sun. Nav. Fridn. Nav. Tuz. Locked. Zet. Locked. Thur. Zept. Timon. Zept. Fridn. Zept. Wed. Snog. sun, snog, fridn, snog, atuz, July, zet, July, thur, July, Timon, June, fridn, June, wed, June, sun, May, fridn, May, atuz, May, zet, April, thur, April, th cycle, Timon, Zmart, fridn, Zmart, wed, Zmart, sun, Feb, thur, Feb, atuz, Feb, zet, Jan, thur, Jan, Timon, Jan, fridn, dec, th cycle continued. Year of Hejira, commencement, 1st of Muharram, wed, dec, sun, nav, thur, nav, atuz, nav, zet, logt, wed, logt, Timon, logt, fridn, zept, wed, zept, sun, zept, thur, snog, atuz, snog, zet, snog, wed, July, Timon, July, fridn, July, wed, June, sun, June, thur, May, atuz, May, th cycle, zet, May, wed, April, Timon, April, fridn, April, atuz, Zmart, sun, Zmart, thur, Zmart, atuz, Feb, zet, Feb, wed, Jan, Timon, Jan, fridn, Jan, atuz, dec, sun, dec, thur, dec, Timon, nav, zet, nav, wed, nav, Timon, logt, fridn, logt, atuz, logt, sun, zept, thur, zept, Timon, snog, zet, snog, wed, snog, Timon, July, fridn, July, atuz, July, sun, June, th cycle, thur, June, Timon, June, zet, May, wed, May, sun, May, fridn, April, atuz, April, sun, Zmart, thur, Zmart, Timon, Zmart, zet, Feb, wed, Feb, sun, Feb, fridn, Jan, atuz, Jan, zet, Jan, thur, dec, Timon, dec, zet, dec, wed, nav, th cycle continued. Year of Hejira, commencement, 1st of Muharram, Sun, Nav, Fridn, Logt, Atuz, Logt, Zet, Logt, Thur, Zept, Zmon, Zept, Zet, Zept, Wed, Znog, Sun, Znog, Fridn, Znog, th cycle, Atuz, July, Zet, July, Thur, July, Zmon, June, Fridn, June, Wed, May, Sun, May, Fridn, May, Atuz, April, Zet, April, Thur, April, Zmon, Zmar, Fridn, Zmar, Wed, Zmar, Sun, Feb, Thur, Feb, Atuz, Jan, Zet, Jan, Thur, Jan, Zmon, Dec, Fridn, Dec, Wed, Dec, Sun, Nav, Thur, Nav, Atuz, Nav, Zet, Logt, Thur, Logt, Zmon, Logt, Fridn, Zept, Wed, Zept, th cycle, Sun, Zept, Thur, Znog, Atuz, Znog, Zet, July, Wed, July, Zmon, July, Fridn, June, Wed, June, Sun, June, Thur, May, Atuz, May, Zet, May, Wed, April, Zmon, April, Fridn, April, Atuz, Zmar, Sun, Zmar, Thur, Feb, Atuz, Feb, Zet, Feb, Wed, Jan, Zmon, Jan, Fridn, Jan, Atuz, Dec, Sun, Dec, Thur, Dec, Atuz, Nav, Zet, Nav, Wed, Logt, Zmon, Logt. Table Roman 10, Principal Days of the Hebrew Calendar. Tisri, New Year Feast of Trumpets, Fast of Gedaliah, Fast of Expiation, Feast of Tabernacles, Last Day of the Festival, Feast of the Eighth Day, Rejoicing of the Law, Kislev, Dedication of the Temple, Tebet, Fast Siege of Jerusalem, Adar, Fast of Esther, Right Brace, in embolismic, Years Vidar, Purim, Nisan, Passover, Asivan, Pentecost, Tammuz, Fast Taking of Jerusalem, Zab, Fast Destruction of the Temple. Table Roman 11 Principal Days of the Mahometan Calendar. Muharram, New Year, Ashura, Rabbia Roman 1, Birth of Mahomet, Jornada Roman 1, Taking of Constantinople, Rajab, Day of Victory, Exaltation of Mahomet, Shaban, Borek's Night, Shawwal 123, Kutchuk Baram, Dulhegia, Quiban Barum. Table Roman 12, epochs, eras, and periods. Name. Christian date of commencement. Grecian mundane era. Zeb. B. Roman 100 civil era of Constantinople. Zeb. Alexandrian era. Zog. Ecclesiastical era of Antioch. Zeb. Julian period. Jan. Mundane era. Logt. Jewish mundane era. Logt. Sarah of Abraham. Logt. Era of the Olympiads. July. Roman era. April. Era of Nabonassar. Feb. Metonic cycle. July. Grecian or Syro-Macedonian era. Zeb. Tyrian era. Logt. Sidonian era. Logt. Caesarian era of Antioch. Zeb. Julian year. Jan. Spanish era. Jan. Action era. Jan. Augustan era. Feb. Vulgar Christian era. Jan. A Roman 500 destruction of Jerusalem. Zeb. Era of Maccabees. Nav. Era of Diocletian. Zeb. Era of Ascension. Nav. Era of the Armenians. July. Mohammedan era of the Hegira. July. Persian era of Yezdegerd. June. For the revolutionary calendar, see French Revolution Advent. The principal works on the calendar are the following: Clavius Romani, Calendare, a Gregorio-Roman 13 p. Roman 1000 Restituti Explicatio Rome, 1603, L'Art de Verifier, Les Dates Lalande Astronomie Tome, Roman 2 Trait de la Sphiret du Calendrier par Roman, 1000 Rivard Paris, 1816 de Lambert Trait de l'Astronomie Théorique, et Pratique Tome Roman 3 Histoire de l'Astronomie, Moderne Methodus Technica, brevis per facilis ac perpetua construendi. Calendarium ecclesiasticum stylo, tam novo, quam veter pro cunctis Christianis, Europi, populis Roman 100 octer Paulo titel Göttingen 16 formal analytic, pel calculo delta pascua, e corriziani di quello di Gauss. Con critic osservasgani, su quanta has scrito del calendario, il de Lambri di Lodovico Ciccolini, Rome 1817, a Lindo Jewish calendar. For 6 to 4 years, 1838, WSB Woolhouse measures weights and moneys of all nations, 1869. TGWSBW. Calendar 1 FR calendar from the Medlat calendra, a corruption of the Latinized form of the GR, a cylinder, a machine consisting of 2 or more rollers or cylinders in close contact with each other, and often heated through which are passed cotton calico and other fabrics for the purpose of having a finished smooth surface given to them. The process flattens the fibers, removes inequalities, and also gives a glaze to the surface. It is similarly employed in paper manufacture. Roman 5-2, from the Arabic calendar, an order of dervishes who separated from the Baktashite order in the 14th century. They were vowed to perpetual traveling. Other forms of the name, by which they are known, are calendaris calendarites and calendarites c. dervish. Calenus Quintus Fufius Roman general, as tribune of the people in 61 B Roman 100. He was chiefly instrumental in securing the acquittal of the notorious Publius Clodius, when charged with having profaned the mysteries of Bona di Cicero. Ad at Roman 1, in 59 Calenus, was praetor and brought forward a law that the senators, knights, and tribuni aerae, who composed the judices, should vote separately, so that it might be known how they gave their votes. Dio Cassius, Roman 38, he fought in Gaul 51, and Spain 49 under Caesar, who after he had crossed over to Greece 48, sent Calenus from Epirus to bring over the rest of the troops from Italy on the passage. To Italy most of the ships were captured by Bibulus, and Calenus himself escaped with difficulty in 47. He was raised to the consulship. Through the influence of Caesar after the death of the dictator, he joined Antony, whose legions he afterwards commanded in the north of Italy. He died in 41 while stationed with his army at the foot of the Alps, just as he was on the point of marching against Octavianus. Caesar BG Roman 8 B Roman, 100 Roman 1 Roman 3, Roman 199, Filippici Roman 8. Calipino Ambrogio 14,351,511, Italian lexicographer, born at Bergamo in 1435, was descended of an old family of Calepio, whence he took his name, becoming an Augustinian monk. He devoted his whole life to the composition of a polyglot dictionary, first printed at Reggio in 1502. This gigantic work was afterwards augmented by Passerat, and others. The most complete edition, published at Basel in 1590, comprises no fewer than 11 languages. The best edition is that published at Padua in 7 languages in 1772. Calipino died blind in 1511. Calsmod Calvi, an ancient city of Campania, belonging originally to the Oronci, on the Via Latina, 8 Roman 1000 NW of Casilinum. It was taken by the Romans in 335 B Roman 100, and a colony with Latin rights of 2,500 citizens having been established there. It was for a long time the center of the Roman dominion in Campania, and the seat of the questor for southern Italy even down to the days of Tacitus I. It was an important base in the war against Hannibal, and at last refused further contributions for the war before 184 more settlers were sent there. After the social war, it became a municipium. The fertility of its territory, and its manufacture of black glazed pottery, which was even exported to Etruria, made it prosperous at the end of the 3rd century. It appears as a colony, and in the 5th century, it became an episcopal see, which jointly with Tino since 1818 it still is, though it is now a mere village. The cathedral of the 12th century has a carved portal, and 3 apses decorated with small arches and pilasters, and contains a fine pulpit and episcopal throne in marble mosaic. Near it are 2 grottos Roman 5p which have been used for Christian worship and contain frescoes of the 10th and 11th centuries. E. Bertox L'Art dans l'Italie Meridionale Paris, 1904, Roman 1 Roman 100 inscriptions, name 6 gates of the town, and there are considerable remains of antiquity, especially of an amphitheater and theater of a supposed temple, and other edifices. A number of tombs belonging to the Roman necropolis were discovered in 1883. See Roman 100 Hulsen in Pauli Wisła Real Encyclopaedia, Roman 3 Stuttgart, 1899. T as Calf 1, a word common in various forms to Teutonic languages, cf. German Kalb and Dutch Kalf, the young of the family of Bovidae, and particularly of the domestic cow, also of the elephant and of marine mammals. As the whale and seal, the word is applied to a small island close to a larger one, like a calf close to its mother's side as in the calf of man, and to a mass of ice detached from an iceberg too, of unknown origin, possibly connected with the Celtic kalpa, a leg, the fleshy hinder part of the leg between the knee and the ankle. Calf the golden, a molten image made by the Israelites, when Moses had ascended the Mount of Yahweh to receive the law. Ex Roman 32, alarmed at his lengthy absence, the people clamored for gods to lead them, and at the instigation of Aaron, they brought their jewelry, and made the calf out of it. This was celebrated by a sacred festival, and it was only through the intervention of Moses that the people were saved from the wrath of Yahweh. CP Deut Roman 9, SQQ. Nevertheless, 3,000 of them fell at the hands of the Levites, who in answer to the summons of Moses declared themselves on the side of Yahweh. The origin of this particular form of worship can scarcely be sought in Egypt. The Apis, which was worshipped, there was a live bull, and image worship was common among the Canaanites in connection with the cult of Baal and Astarte. QQ Roman 5 in early Israel, it was considered natural to worship Yahweh by means of images. CP, the story of Gideon Judge Roman 8 SQQ, and even to Moses himself was attributed the bronze serpent, whose cult at Jerusalem was destroyed in the time of Hezekiah. 2 Kings, Roman 18 Num Roman 219. The condemnation, which later writers, particularly those imbued with the spirit of the Deuteronomic Reformation, pass upon all image worship, is in harmony with the judgment upon Jeroboam for his innovations at Bethel, and Dan 1 Kings Roman 12, SQQ Roman 16 Roman 100. But neither Elijah nor Elisha raised a voice against the cult. Then, as later in the time of Amos, it was nominally Yahweh worship, and Hosea is the first to regard it as the fundamental cause of Israel's misery. See further W.R. Smith Prophets of Israel pp. 175 SQQ Kennedy Hastings, Dict Bib Roman 1 and Hebrew Religion. A Roman 100. Calgary, the oldest city in the province of Alberta. Pop. 1901 40 91 19 07 21112. It is situated in 114-15 W and 51-412 N on the Bow River, which flows with its crystal waters from the pass in the Rocky Mountains, by which the main line of the Canadian Pacific Railway crosses the Rocky Mountains. The pass proper, Kananaskis, penetrates the mountains beginning 40 Roman, 1,000 west of Calgary, and the well-known watering place Banff lies 81 Roman 1,000 west of it, in the Canadian National Park. The streets are wide and laid out on a rectangular system. The buildings are largely of stone, the building stone used being the brown Laramie sandstone, found in the valley of the Bow River in the neighborhood of the city Calgary, is an important point on the Canadian Pacific Railway, which has a general superintendent resident here. It is an important center of wholesale dealers and also of industrial establishments. Calgary is near the site of Fort La Jonquière, founded by the French in 1752. Old Bow Fort was a trading post for many years, though now in ruins. The present city was created by the building of the Canadian Pacific Railway about 1883.